Welcome to today's live stream, everyone. Hello, hello. There's always this moment when I'm going live, but I've been waving for a minute, probably, because it takes a little while, right? But I think we're live. Hello, everybody. Today we are drawing food packaging, something like this. The sketchbook's so big, I can't even fit my face and the sketchbook on the screen. So this is what we're gonna do, guys. All right. So, I think this might be the first live stream where I'm not using watercolors at all. Don't remember. I've been doing these streams for, excuse me, a long time now. So I think it's very rare that I don't use watercolors, but we're gonna do mixed media today. And for you, of course, you are very, very welcome to use watercolors and any kind of supplies you have or combination thereof. So let me turn around the camera and let's talk a little bit about the design. If you're subscribed to my newsletter, you received a newsletter today and yesterday, I believe, with a template. However, I want to start this session by asking you guys, should we just draw what you see here, or should we do something different? Oops, I'm sorry. Sorry about the shakiness. I'm just trying to get my phone into the holder. Here we go. Okay, let me quickly look over to the chat and say hi to you all. I swear my cold is over, but somehow I have a little frosh mice. This is a German saying. I got a frog in my throat. Hey, Mom. Good morning. Mom says, aloha, my lovely Keiko-chan. I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight. Toi, toi, toi. Dankeschön. And Suze, good morning. Nice to have you back today. This is your second session, I think, right? And hi, Carrie. Carrie has all her templates drawn. Ooh, very good. Hi, Kerstin. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Sylvia. Ahoy aus Hamburg. Ahoy is such a nice word. I love it. So, in the north of Germany, or is it just in Hamburg where they say ahoy? It's a bit, it reminds me a little bit of aloha. Just, I don't know why. It's just a nice short word starting with an A, I guess. But yeah, it sounds so nice. Ahoy. Hello, Agnieszka. Servus, Moni. Hi, Laura. And Susan's maybe coming down with a cold. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just got over mine, so it sucks. I hope it's not a cold and you just sneeze because maybe, I don't know, the neighbor's cat left a hair in your living room or something, or it's just something in the air. Not a cold. You guys stay healthy. I know the fall season is coming up for you guys, for most of you. Always mind-boggling for me to think that in some countries it's actually now the total opposite, right? They're going into spring and then summer, like over in Australia, for example. It's very interesting. Okay, you guys. So as I said earlier, this is the double page spread I did the other day. I used a Royal Talens Art Creations sketchbook that was kindly gifted to me. Look at this, it's so cute. So this sketchbook has rather thin pages, but they really hold up very well. I have to say, I was surprised. You can throw all the media on this thing. It's incredible. Maybe not, too much watercolor, but this is watercolor. So yeah, mixed media holds up really nicely. And for this one, I used the Caron d'Ache Neocolor 2 water-soluble crayons. So these look like standard crayons, but they're water-soluble. It's really cool. So I could theoretically go over this. So let me just show you. With some water. And isn't that cool? It's just such an interesting art supply because it gives you all the texture and you can leave it in that crayon look, or you can go over it and just make it a bit smoother. And you can take it to the point where you don't see the texture anymore at all, or you leave a little bit of it. It's super versatile. Highly recommend these. You don't have to get this brand. You know, there are other watercolor or water-soluble crayons out there. I really don't like advertising a specific brand, but these come in really nice colors too, I should say. What else did I use? I used water-soluble or water-based brush pens, just in different colors. I did cheat a little bit. I wanted to use only 2 colors, orange and pink. I did use this fuchsia brush pen. You can see it over here, just for some shadow work. But I kind of figured it's still in the pink range, so it kind of counts as just another another shade of pink, right? I also used some acrylic markers. These are by Karin. I think they're made in... Actually, I think they're made in Poland. Do you know that, Agnieszka? This is a Polish brand, I believe. Karin, and they are brush pens. Acrylic-based brush pens, so they're very opaque. They're super cool. They're good for lettering. I actually use them to letter on my plastic containers, you know, to what's in my plastic container, storage bins. Really nice. Also a huge variety of colors. I did not use gouache, but I plan on using it today, just to, you know, so that we change things up a little bit. I don't have orange, so I'm gonna have to mix it. And I don't have this particular pink, but that's okay. I'm gonna just use a shell pink today. This gouache is by the Japanese company Holbein, and it's an acrylic gouache, which honestly, it's almost like acrylic paint, because it does not behave like a regular gouache. Regular gouache is just an opaque watercolor, like these two, and those you can re-wet even after they dry. This one, it behaves just like acrylic paint. You cannot re-wet it or work with it after it dried. It basically has a plastic base. You know, once that is dry, it's dry. However, it dries matte. So a lot of the acrylic paints dry with a slight sheen to them, and this one dries matte, so it looks like gouache. Let me know if you have any questions or if I'm going too fast with my explanations. I sometimes feel like, because I know these supplies or these media so well, that I'm kind of like hurrying through that part. So please, if you have questions, just let me know, and I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. Oh, Sue says about her possible cold, it might be the pollens. Yeah. Spring here, so it might be pollens. I don't know what's worse though. I mean, if you have like a severe pollen allergy, that's really bad too. I remember when we were kids in high school, we sometimes even had to keep the windows closed because we had a few who were super allergic. They wouldn't have like lived through class if we had the windows open. So we lived in a steam bath, you guys. Maybe that's why I'm so not fazed by the climate here in Hawaii, because I got trained in the summer to withstand high heat. I'm just kidding. It's just anecdotes from my life, right? I use this brush pen. It's actually a calligraphy fude pen from Japan by the company Pentel. What's really cool about this one is that the bristles are not just made from one felt tip, but it consists of many hairs, synthetic ones. So you can splay them apart. Don't know if you can, it's kind of, hold on, let's see if I can demonstrate that. Okay, I hope you saw that. So it's single hairs, and that makes it behave like a regular brush, you know, like a watercolor brush. But it has a converter inside, and you can fill it up with ink. And I used this, another Japanese company, Platinum Carbon ink. It's kind of like a famous ink, I have to say. It's in the sense of this one being one of the few waterproof inks that you can fill a fountain pen with. So in a lot of cases, when you have waterproof ink, it behaves in a way that it will clog your fountain pen. So usually it's not recommended to put any kind of waterproof ink in a fountain pen. This, however, this works. And this, of course, I know it's not a fountain pen. I just wanted to say that one of the beloved advantages of this ink is that once it's dry, it's waterproof, kind of like a micron pen. Or you know, a Tombow Fudenosuke, that once they're dry on the paper, you can paint over them. Huge advantage. So you can do outlines first and then fill your design up later. Okay, I'm looking over to the chat. Aloha, Nina. Hello, hola. And then Agnieszka says, Lugas, this is amazing. Okay, I'm not quite sure what you're referring to, but that's okay. Whatever is amazing. I'm glad that it is. Okay, you guys, I need your opinion. So would you like to go ahead and just recreate what I created here? Or should I incorporate a few other packagings? For example, I have my Mango Maui tea. Kind of really, I mean, look at this cute packaging. Isn't it pretty? They totally revamped it last year. Before that, it was so different. It was mostly black, and the font was very traditional and old and had serifs and everything. So they made it very colorful. It looked a bit more like, yeah, a bit more like this style, but even darker. And I have one of my favorite Hawaiian Host chocolate covered macnuts. This is strawberry flavor. It sounds terrible, but it's really good. They managed to make it so that it's a bit sour. It's not just sweet, but yeah, I know it's a little bit artificial, but it's so yummy. My other favorite is matcha white chocolate covered macnuts. And yeah, I mean, look at this pretty packaging. And then another staple. This one here. So King's is a company, it's really old, and they have been making sweet rolls or sweetbread for a long time, since, it says here, 1950. By the way, they also changed everything. So the logo used to be also a bit more traditional. When I say traditional, I guess I mean not a bubbly kind of font, but more serious. The crown had actual, it wasn't rounded, and it had some hibiscus florals left and right. I don't hate it. I'm just, I don't know. Honestly, now this reminds me of like a fast food place. Seriously, it's like, I don't want to say any brands specifically, but if this was on top of a restaurant, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Whereas the other design before that, it was really like an old established kind of family company vibe. So, but it's orange. So this is the our color of the month that we're focusing on here in Aloha 25 September. So I figured, you know, that could be a good one. So please let me know in the chat. Would you like to just do this page, or should I draw the new items that we have? I could also make a mix, you know. You could tell me which ones I should draw from this double page spread, and then I could just add the other ones as well. So let me know. You can just type in the comment like original or old, doing just this, or new, then we'll do the new designs, or mix, then we'll mix it all up. So Carrie says the brand name is boring, but the rolls make the best sliders. So for all of you who are not from America, a slider is, if I understand correctly, a burger. And it's a small burger, isn't it? Okay, Laura wants a mix. Monica loves the sardines, the tin. Yeah, I like it too. So let's do the tin. Carrie says original. Carrie, you're the one who already drew the layout, right? From the template. And Kerstin says mix. I apologize, Carrie, because you were ready to just recreate this one, right? But I think as soon as I show you how to make one, then you can just apply this technique to your template, okay? So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to draw the outline first in our brush pen, and then just fill it in with some fun colors, okay? Nina also wants a mix. All right, very good. So we'll keep the sardines. And what you guys say, the soda can too? I think it's interesting to draw this one. And then we could, let's put this one here. You know, the bubble gum and the tea packages kind of similar because they're just rectangular packages. So let's put this. We'll figure it out. Let's start with the left-hand side. So I'm just going to do the left-hand side as is on this page. And let me find a piece of paper I can put in between here because I just painted on that, right? So it's still a little bit wet. Not wet, it's like moist a little bit. Hold on. Okay. Wow, that was a really long introduction. So I always try, by the way, to put timestamps even into my live streams after we're done. So when you go back and you want to rewatch or you want to watch it later, that you can just look at the timestamps and scroll forward if you don't want to listen to my rambling introduction. Okay. I made a printout on my design so I can have that, you know, handy and close. Because I knew I was just gonna do the same thing on this in the same sketchbook. So I'm gonna put this here. It's also for you guys to orientate yourself a little bit where we're at. Okay, I drew this design without pencil, so I just went in straight with my brush pen, but you don't have to do that. And we're just gonna start with a outline. You know, you can use a colored pencil, or you could use just a regular pencil, preferably in the color that you're gonna use in your design anyways. So something orange, something pink. Just draw a regular rectangle. If you're somebody who likes to work more precisely, of course you can use a ruler. You know, you can be more meticulous. But I'm just very loose with this whole food packaging design today. So I saw earlier on Instagram that Moni drew such a cool design. So she drew the tea and the cookies and the cookie package. And she was very detailed. Looks really good. And I think she also used different you know, different pens, just a fine liner, for example. With a brush pen, you can't be as precise, of course. Okay, so back to the design. I drew in this little tab, and then I'm gonna add a line in the center, just dividing my design into two parts, top and bottom. And then on this line, I'm gonna put the sardine, or is it sardine? Is it sardine or sardine? Are we dining or are we dining? So you can think of it almost as an elongated leaf shape for your, I'm just gonna call it fish now, for your fish. Until somebody tells me if it's a sardine or a sardine. In German it's Sardine. That I know. Okay, Sue says sardine. Ooh. Or sardine. Ha. Sue's with me on the sardines. Is that Tanya there? Servus, Tanya. Oh, dankeschön. She says she loves the motifs. Yeah, Tanya is one of those people who really, really has it down to be very detailed. So, you know how we always love when other people do something that's totally different. So I think she likes that I'm very loose. Okay, back to the chat. Carrie says, she says sardine. Yeah, I think I've heard both. Sue says sardine here, typed it the wrong way around. Brain isn't in gear this morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Either the cold or the pollens are messing with the brain. Hey, you guys, I am pretty toast this morning, honestly. I have been teaching a workshop, in-person workshop, all weekend, Saturday, Sunday, all day. Oh my goodness. It was absolutely fantastic, but 2 days, live workshop, 10 people. I absolutely love it. I mean, I love any kind of workshop, teaching, all of that. But it's just, you know, it takes a toll. It's needs a lot of prep work, of course. So I honestly prepped more for the workshop than actual time teaching it. I'm sorry, I just drew in this line here. So what I did there was just drawing in a curved wavy line under, I'm following the outline of my sardine here, okay? And then you mirror that line up here, or not mirror it, you just follow the same curve and add 2 circles on each side. And then for the lettering, I honestly don't really love it how the S and the A go behind that tab, but I think that's how it is, isn't it? Unless you design it in a different way. It's just they put the tab there and then your lettering goes away. But how about instead we put the lettering in here in a way that you can read it completely. So curved line. And then following this line, you want to put your letters. Now, if you have a word, this is 7 letters. You want to plan where you put, you know, where you start your word. So I've been doing lettering for a very long time. I know approximately where to put it. But you can start by putting the 2 letters that are in the center, D and I, in the center of your layout. It'll make sense in a second, I promise. And then you build your word around the center. This way you won't run out of space. So what I mean is if you start with your S-A-R-D on one side, you might actually end up running out of space. I think we tend to start words too big and then we kind of have to like squish it in towards the end. So this is a good advice, especially if you're doing greeting cards or any type of designs that have typography on them or hand lettering. You start in the center. But I still ended up having to put my S under the tab here. Okay, oh well. But at least we have the A out. Okay. Looking over to the chat. Nina says sardinas. Yes. So sardinas in Spanish. And Frau SW, is that Susanne? Google-Übersetzer sagt Sardines. Yeah, I think we're going with the sardines. Definitely. Dankeschön, Tanja. Yeah, Suze, you know, it's okay. I mean, I think in order to get the S out of this area, you have to make the whole lettering very small, and then it doesn't work anymore. You want this lettering to be the biggest part of your design because it's the most important word on that tin. You know, you want to know what's going on, what you're buying. So sardines naturally has to stand out. For this lettering here, you can use the same principle. So you look at your forwards in extra olive oil, and then, you know, like this part here is about in the center, R, A, and then the O of the olive. So you can start with planning out your words. So in this bubble here is the word extra. You put in here, and then olive, and then oil. So we can construct it backwards. We can put the A of extra here and then followed by the O, because we know we want those two letters to be in the center. And honestly, it doesn't always work. You might still end up having to erase your letters and go over them again. This is totally fine. If you're working with watercolor paper, you want to avoid using your eraser too much. It just messes with the paper fibers. With this kind of paper, it's very smooth. It's drawing paper. It's fine to use your eraser a little bit. But also just don't worry about it too much. This is on purpose a very loose design today. So don't worry about the wonky lines, okay? We're just having fun. Okay, I got my can down, or this can, or tin. It's actually a tin, isn't it? Let's move over to our beverage. Okay, Nina wants to know what sketchbook I'm using. Look here. I'm using a sketchbook from your home country. It's Royal Talens Art Creations. I think they have their logo on the back here. This is an Akohe Kohe sticker from Bailey from the other island, by the way. So not my design, but here. Talens Art Creations. This is the large one, the A4 or letter size sketchbook. Okay, for the can, you want to start, first of all, you know, you have your sardines can or tin here. So you have all the space for your can. If you place it here, you might be able to put another little small design here or maybe some lettering. So I want to keep this space here to maybe add some swatches later, or, you know, I could write Aloha 25 September, the date, something like that. So I'm going to place the can more on this side. Draw two parallel lines. You have a slight curve at the bottom, very slightly, just a little bit. Round out the edges. And then we add a little foot down here for the can. And I'm trying to make this design approximately the same size as the Sardines can. So don't make it too much smaller. You know, I think it's visually pleasing when it's approximately the same size. Because also in real life, I think they are kind of like the same size. So I put in 2 wedges here. And then this curved line imitates the one here at the bottom. The same angle, all right? And then you close your elliptic shape up here, like that. And the tab, you see, it's kind of squished. This is the tab you pull your can open with. So it's kind of like a squished, it's almost like a squished little skull. Let's just add a second line here. Okay. And then for this lettering, you can draw a line across your can. Let's do a really nice big S. And then the rest of the word's a bit smaller. Okay, I drew in a little bit of an orange slice on this one. Let's make it a bit bigger here, because I think that's usually what they have, you know, when you buy, actually no, is it? I'm just thinking, if you buy Fanta, for example, there is no fruits on the design, is there? But, you know, our soda can has an orange slice on it just because I wanted to have one. It's basically just a circle and a small inner circle and the little orange wedges. And then I just filled my design with some, you know, with some lines, just so to have some movement and to fill in the white space. And then we can do some little circles. This is a highlight here on this side of the can. All right. Nina says she just bought the same sketchbook today, the same size, but with a black cover. I think the black cover is like the most classic, the classical traditional, but I love that they have so many different colors in this company for the sketchbook covers. And this salmon peachy one is my favorite. Really love it. I tend to use not this type of sketchbook anymore though, but the ones that have white pages, as in white. This is cream colored, right? You can see the difference here really well. So the same brand also has white paper sketchbooks now, which I do prefer, but you know, this is still a go-to of mine as well. Okay, so I would suggest that we start inking our designs here and then move over to the other side, just because Carrie and maybe some others of you want to just do the template as I sent it, right? So I'm just gonna show you how this works. So please, if you don't have a waterproof pen, then either you need to go and find one. So typical waterproof pens would be the microns or the Tombos. So micron, you know, something like this. Once this is dry, it's waterproof and you can paint over it. I don't have a Tombow here right now. Hold on, let me get one. It's very close. Yeah, there it is. Here. It's all in Japanese, I know, but it does say Tombow here. This is the one with the soft tip. They also have one with a hard brush pen tip. So both of these will dry waterproof. Again, if you don't have a waterproof pen, you gotta do everything in reverse, which means you have to put in all the colors first and then ink your design later. And I'm happy to show that to you too. So let's do one design with the ink line first, you know, like the can, and then we can do the other one. We can color the other one first and then ink over it later. In case you're working with watercolor, it's the exact same process. Again, if you have a waterproof pen, you can do your outlines first and then watercolor over them. You really, really, really want to make sure your black ink is dry. I would even use a hairdryer, honestly. It's very easy to misjudge how dry your ink is, and then you paint over it and you do have those black smudges that are not so pretty. Okay, looking over to the chat. Yeah, Nina says that the paper is different. Oh, it totally is. Yes. We're still talking about this type of sketchbook, so the Royal Talens, and there is a big difference between the papers. However, I don't mind. The difference is that this paper is less absorbent than the ones with the white paper. However, because I do work, I love to work with brush pens and even with watercolor or gouache in these sketchbooks, I actually like that the white paper ones are more absorbent. I think it's fabulous. And I just love that more pure white color of the paper. But it's really something where that's a, you know, matter of taste. I know that a lot of people actually do not like the white paper at all, and they much prefer this one. Okay, I have my Neocolor 2 here. This is the color orange. It's just called orange, is it? Solid. Solid. Echt orange. Fast orange. Whatever. It's an orange. And I'm just gonna crayon around my ink. And for all of you who have not been here in the beginning of the session, because this is a water soluble. Enough. Calm down. No. Maria. Hi. I'm back, you guys. Do I need to say anything at this point? I'm sure everyone who's watching, maybe with the exception of Suze, because she's pretty new, but everybody else knows that theoretically I have one dog, but whenever my neighbor goes to work, I have 4 dogs, and they're Chihuahuas, so they like to bark. Leo. Okay, you guys, let me show you. We put down this layer of crayon, and because it's water soluble, I can go over it with some water. And at this point, I'm making sure I'm not really touching my black lettering, by the way, because I'm not sure if it's really dry yet. So I'm kind of carefully painting around it. So not too much rubbing the black paint here. Okay, how's it going for you guys with the outlines? I know I'm drawing very quickly because also I'm not really worried about getting the lines straight and everything, but is this something that you struggle with, or is it relatively easy for you guys? you guys. Chihuahuas. Okay, up next I have my acrylic marker, the Karin marker. I'm gonna shake it a little bit. Let's see, this is the color, what is it? I don't know. Pink? Oh, it's just called pink. That's it. And, ooh, I think this is another pink that I used than the one I used in the original. This is more like, this is almost like a neon pink. That's pretty cool. And I'm just drawing in real quick my design, my background, and I'm switching to the other one. This is Cerise. I think this was kind of like a lighter pink. Yeah, but that's very close, isn't it? It's a tiny bit lighter than the other one. I don't think you can even see the difference on screen. Probably not. I mean, it's like, this is the Cerise and this is the pink. It's almost the same. I'd say this one here, the Cerise one, is maybe a bit more opaque. Might be the only difference. Okay, I'm going back to my crayon to fill in my orange slice. Okay, how are you guys feeling about this mixed media thing? Can I have a little, can we do a little poll again and you can give me your answer in the chat? Is that something that you like, or do you prefer just doing watercolors? I mean, I am planning to do most of my live streams with watercolors just because, you know, I'm a watercolor paint maker. But personally, I love mixed media and I love the freedom and just playing with the materials. And of course, you know, going to the art store and buying all the supplies. That is admittedly a big part of it, I have to say. Kerstin says she likes it. Carrie says she loves trying other mixed media. Oh, good. Okay. So maybe every now and then I can sneak in a little mixed media live stream. Okay, for this one, let's change things up and do the background first, and then we'll do the outline. Okay, what are we gonna do? I think I'm going to use the same media as up here. So we're going to do crayon again and the acrylic marker. And for this one, I'm thinking in shapes and in colors first. So I'm not really too worried about the outlines at this point. So we're just going to reverse the whole process. We're going to do color blocking first, and then define our design with our brush pen or fine liner or whatever you're using later on. So I think it really is something that you can maybe think about a little bit, what, you know, in terms of what you prefer. I think some people really love to have the outline first, because then you can just sit down and basically color in your design. It's very soothing, it's very relaxing. Doing it like this can be, I guess it can be a bit more stressful because, you know, you still have the outlines to consider later on. It's, yeah, I guess it's really a question of temperament, or maybe even depends on the day. I have a Crayola regular brush pen here, or brush tip marker. It doesn't have a brush tip. It's more like a sturdy felt tip. So this is an American brand, and these are actually made for children, but honestly, they're so good. I love using them. They have very, vibrant and bright colors. So ever since I moved to Hawaii and I had my first pack of Crayolas, I was in love, you guys. They're so cool. They come in a different shape too. These are the skinny ones, but you've probably seen the more chubby ones as well. And they're just great. A lot of them are also water soluble. They're all water soluble. What I mean is washable, so you can get, you know, the paint off your fingers real easy. I do believe, however, they're kind of difficult to get outside of America. So that's I don't want to promote them too much, because anything you can get only, you know, in one place, it feels kind of mean to talk about it too much. Okay, I'm looking over to the chat, and there's Susan. Hi, Susan. She says, I'm late. Time got away from me, so just watching. I love that you show other techniques with the mixed media, but always love watercolor. Yeah, it's the watercolor love. And I'm drawing in the little details. So Susan, because you're coming in a bit late, what I'm doing today is, for the first design, I actually started with the black outline and then we filled in the color. And now I'm doing the exact opposite. I am color blocking first and then doing the outline later. And I'm really wondering, you know, what's better for you guys? And you can ask yourself the same question. Are you more relaxed when you do it this way? Outline first, and then basically it's like a coloring book? Or, you know, is it fun to do the color blocking first? Gotta shake this a little bit. I think it's drying out. So at this point, this would be a good example to pull out my gouache paints, just because I can cover larger areas, and this poor little marker is it's kind of sad today. It's a bit tired. It's not really in the yay, let's go, it's Monday. It's more like the, oh no, it's Monday again, I don't want to work. But, you know, I've had these markers for a long time, I think since 2018 or something, so they have a right to be a bit tired. I don't mind. I forgive them. It's okay. Okay, Sue says, I find that many things aren't available here. They don't have carbon, for example. You're in New Zealand, right? Yeah. Oh, I bet. I have a very good friend in New Zealand, Stacy. She's a watercolor paint maker as well. Stay Kiwi Colors. And she told me that a lot of the times she can only get stuff via Australia, or she orders it in America. But yeah, it would be nice if you could just go to the local art store and have stuff there for sure. Okay, hold on. The chat just disappeared and they're showing me a commercial. Oh man, YouTube. Okay. So I'm gonna leave this white. Or what else could I use? I think white is fine, just for a little contrast. And I will smooth out my crayon marker. So again, for everybody who's a bit late to the party, I've been using the Karin Neocolor 2, which is a water-soluble crayon. By the way, there are different ways to use this crayon. You can even go in with your wet brush and just pick up the paint right off the crayon. Kind of like a solid watercolor bar. Pick it up. And then, see, it even looks like watercolor. What you can also do is have a little puddle on your paint mixing palette, like that, and then you can rub your crayon stick in it and have a watercolor puddle. So these are really versatile and great for traveling too. And again, you know, I don't want to push you towards a certain brand because there are other watercolor or water-soluble crayons out there as well. I have watched a review, and I don't know the name of the channel anymore, unfortunately, here on YouTube, where the channel host reviews different brands of crayons and swatches them all out, and has it's a very good detailed review. If I find that video again, I'm gonna link it down below in the description. It shouldn't be too difficult to find, honestly. I mean, it's been a while since I watched the review, so it's not going to be in my latest history of watched videos, but yeah, I think I'll be able to find it. Oh, and then our little sardine friend needs some smoothing out as well. For this guy, I'm actually not going to smooth it out too much. I want to keep some of the texture of my crayon because it actually fits the whole design really well. It emulates the scales of the fish, doesn't it? Like little bit of texture. Okay, now I have the problem that my whole thing is a bit moist, so I don't want to go over it with my brush pen or ink or fine liner yet. You know, this would just be a disaster. So I suggest we just walk over to the other side, get started there, and then once this is dry, I can come back and finish with the outline. Okay, so for Susan and everybody who showed up a bit later, we decided that we're not gonna recreate the exact same template that I sent out with my newsletter, but we're gonna introduce a few more items that I pulled out this morning. The King's Hawaiian sweetbread, Mango Maui tea package, and the Hawaiian Host strawberry chocolate covered macnuts. And now I'm hungry, you guys. Breakfast. I haven't had breakfast yet, but I will after this stream. So, okay, next step. Let's see how we will arrange it. So I could either go with something where everything is lined up in the same direction, or I could have this come in kind of like sideways. Because it's such a big package, maybe that's what I'll do, and then I'll squish in my chocolate up here. Or I could have this come in from the bottom and just kind of like cut it off here. I think I kind of like this straight approach for this one, and maybe the chocolate comes in helter-skelter from the side. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so let's plan our design. I'm back with my colored pencil, and I want to start with the item that's the biggest one, which is this one. And I'm not drawing it in a how do you say? I will make it a bit smaller. You know, I'm not gonna do like a realistic rendition of this, but if you if you have something that you draw, you can of course do it in the same relation. So just boom, this is it. This is just my outline, so I know I'm gonna put the sweetbread here. I do want to make sure I get most of the crown in there, so that's the most important part for me. So let's see. Yeah, I think most of it will fit. I will have to cut off part of the word Hawaiian, I think, but that's fine. I think everybody who knows this brand will know what it is right away. Okay, this is a very rough sketch. It's mostly like a placeholder, so I know where I'm gonna put the design. And then, hold on, just put this to the side for now. The Mango Maui tea box will go over here. And this shape will reflect the shape of, oops, that was wonky, our soda can. Kind of like the same size. And then I'll have the chocolate come in like this. Yeah, I think I like the idea to doing like a parallel line, parallel to the King's soft bread here. So we have that consistency here. And then this is like mirroring the soda can. So, you know, it's, yeah, I think it works. And now I could even put my little lollipop here, just to fill this little white space. I think that's a good balance. In the next step, now that I'm happy with my whole layout across my double page spread, I can go back and do a little more details. So for the Mango Maui tea, there are a few elements that I find important, which is the frame up here, the words Mango Maui. I don't really care about the small print. I'm gonna probably leave that out or just do scribbles. And then those juicy fruits. I think those are really pretty. So I'm gonna make sure my Hawaiian Islands Tea Company sign is up here. And then we're gonna put the Mango Maui. It's pretty much, it's almost in the center, yeah, of the package here. So I'm drawing a horizontal line. This is where it's gonna say Mango Maui. And then I have mango fruit coming in here. And I'm not using green today, so I have to kind of maybe just use black ink for that. And then we have some fruits coming in from the top as well. And I love this packaging because it's already so stylized. You know, I don't have to simplify it because it already is very simplified. Okay, so, and then the lettering is like Hawaiian Islands and then Tea Company up down here. Again, we can use the same principle that we used in on the other page. We'll start with the center of the word, A and N, and then add the other letters around, just so we can make sure we can fit everything, oops, on our line here. And then Hawaiian, the same thing. You know, the A is the center letter, so you want to put the A in the center. And then I-I-A-N-W-A-H. And then Tea Company. Mango Maui. I'm not too concerned about recreating the exact font. So you can, of course, be as precise as you want and really try and get the lettering just as it is on the packaging. But for me, that's really not the purpose of today's live stream. I'm not really too interested in that. I just want to get the placements approximately right. And yeah, and that's it for this one here. If you want to have it look a bit more 3D, because right now it just looks like a greeting card, right? You can look at your package and find out the how'd you say, the depth of the box. You know, turn it into an actual 3D object. So when you do this, you always have to make sure that the lines going away from your front are all parallel. So you have one, the next one here, the exact same angle. And then also down here, the same parallel line. Okay, I hope I'm not going too fast with my sketch and everything. Just, you know, shout. Shout and let me know. Especially if you want me to repeat something maybe. Okay. These type of packages are easy to draw because they're flat. Now, when you have something that is squishy, like this bag, you know, you have a lot of light reflection and then like crinkles and folds, and you can go really into detail and do all the shadow work, especially with watercolor. However, today I'm simplifying. I'm doing a very flat design, what it's called sometimes. So I'm not really too worried about the shadow work or anything. Okay, so Hawaiian Host has a kind of a steep curve here for their logo. And then the strawberries and cream, not quite in the center. I'd say since 1927 is in the center or in the middle. This would be the middle line here, so it's a bit below. Okay, then we have a little round thing here. Okay, again, for me, the most important things here are the lettering, Hawaiian Host, and this white tab that indicates what's in there, and then of course this bright pink. I mean, the whole packaging lives from the fact that it is so bright pink. So actually when you go to the store, you don't even have to read what's in it anymore. Once you bought this package once, you're gonna know it's the strawberries and cream. Hawaiian Host, and then the H of the host starts a bit, it's almost like underneath the W, but a bit to the right. That. And then the T stroke is pretty long and parallel to the H stroke, so like that. I'm exaggerating it a little bit. Okay, we have 2 lines of lettering here. Genuine, classic, original. Ooh. Okay, and then the words strawberries and cream are very, just very unassuming capital letters. There's no serifs. Serif, by the way, is when you have like those little wings. One of the most famous serif typographies is Times New Roman, for example. You know, when you have those little accents. And this font here does not have any. Okay, and then in smaller letters, it says white chocolate. And again, I'm gonna cut this off here. And I'm gonna move my paper around again. Okay, guys, at this point, I think I need to get a cable and plug in my phone because I've been running on battery, I realized, and I should plug it in because we're already 1 hour into the stream, so my phone's gonna complain. It eats a lot of battery when I do videos or live streams because, you know, of the fact that the screen is on. And recording moving pictures, that takes a lot of battery. Okay, plugging in. Okay, how's it going? Are any of you drawing along with me with the new design, or are you all sticking to the template that I sent around? Okay, let's do the King's Hawaiian. So this has a lot of crinkles and folds. Where should I put it? Okay, Laura says, I'm drawing. Excellent. Kerstin is drawing too, and she's drawing with me with this design. And Carrie's working on the template. Fabulously, guys. Yeah, super. Okay. And my mom says, the sweet roll looks yummy. Yeah, so I want to eat one at once. They are really good. Very soft, sweet. The mango Maui tea. Yeah, she knows that one already. It's so good too. And the strawberries and cream white chocolate looks especially yummy. It is. I don't know why the package is so tiny too. I mean, look at that. It's like, I look at it and it's empty, I swear. Okay, King's Hawaiian. We're gonna get the crown in here because that's probably the most important part, and the thing that makes people realize it's the King's brand, other than of course having this orange. So the old packaging also had the same orange. I think for brands to be recognized, having a strong color is probably one of the most important things. And they will just use this color everywhere and not stray from it. I'm not into this bubbly lettering, you guys. Not in general. I kind of think it's fun, bubbly lettering. I'm not judging the lettering itself. I don't know. I really like the old design. And that's not always the case. As I mentioned earlier, they also recreated the tea company's design. You know, the Hawaiian Islands Tea Company was totally different. And I love, love, love the new design. I think it's super, super cool. So it's not that I'm always opposed to changing designs or brands. Not at all. It's really more like, don't like this one too much. Okay, I complained enough. It's okay. I'll get used to it. Okay, so for all of you who are drawing along with me today with these designs, I will take a photo later, okay, and put it in my Instagram story so that you have the food packaging all in one row, you know, kind of like this, and you can really reference it, because I know I'm moving everything all the time. I'm having it, you know, at an angle, so I know it's difficult for you to really get a good glimpse at it. So no worries. If you need to finish your design later, you can just check my Aloha Watercolors Instagram stories, all right? And then you'll have the packaging there. $19.50. And then original Hawaiian sweet rolls. It's gonna be just a tiny, it's like a tiny corner of this in here. I'm not even gonna bother with the lettering. And then the pattern up here, plumeria and monsteras and hibiscus. So I'm just drawing circles for these ones for now. Not even sure if I really want to draw all these little tiny ones, because remember I'm working with this really broad brush pen, the black ink pen, so I'm not, don't know if I can get those in really. What I kind of missed out on was to include this fun little bit here, the twisty top, because of course this is a package, right? So I can try and just get it in here and disappearing underneath the chocolate macnuts, and then getting some of these folds in here, and it crinkles here as well. Okay. I mean, same with this one. This has a few crinkles. So again, I'm not going to be trying to be very realistic with my packaging today. However, we can indicate that it crinkles a little bit by adding a few areas where light and shadow is more pronounced. Highlights and dark spots. I indicated a little bit of this on my Sriracha bottle here. So I had a highlight here at the top, and then this wobbly thing is just indicating light reflection. Okay, I think this might be dry enough now, hopefully. Let's do one more thing. I'm gonna add some lettering here. It's just gonna say Aloha 25 September to indicate that this is part of the monthly color challenge. Week 4. And then the date today, is it the 22nd? Okay, so in America they put the month first and then the day. I don't know if, I think in Japan they do that too, but took me a long time to get used to that, because in Europe we do it the other way around. We have the day first and then the month. And honestly, you guys, I think it's very confusing. Sometimes when I see a date like 0504, in America it would be May 4th, but in Germany, for example, it's April 5th. So I'm like, oh. So who wrote it? Where are they from? And what country are they referring to? You know, especially if it's like a date for an event or something. You want to make sure that you know which month it is. See, in New Zealand they do that too. First the day and then the month. Yeah, I am really used to that. I grew up with that. And then they brought my whole world, you know, they tumbled it upside down with a lot of things. Inches and miles and pounds and dates written the wrong way. It is confusing, let me tell you. Okay, so for this side, I'm gonna do what I did with the soda can, which is doing the outlines first, because this is really the technique that I wanted to show off today in this live stream, rather than doing color blocking first. And again, for those of you who weren't there in the beginning, I'm using a Japanese pocket brush pen that has real bristles, so to speak. So it's not just one solid felt tip, and it makes it behave just like a brush, like a watercolor brush. And I filled it with the waterproof platinum carbon ink, which is waterproof when it's really dry. Just make sure you wait till it's really dry. this packaging back here. Already messed up the W. Oh, well. I'm saying I messed it up because it's like two V's rather than the W I made. So it's more like this. The nice thing about going over your initial drawing with the ink is that you can slightly change as well. So what I mean is my initial sketch, you know, if that's a bit wonky or I didn't place it correctly, when I go over it with the ink, you know, I can correct that. And I can correct that like this. Okay, and then the Mango Maui. Not too worried about the serifs here. Okay, instead of doing every single letter or word of this little thing here, I'm just gonna do squiggly lines to indicate that there is some more text there, but I don't really care what it says for this particular drawing. And then I'm gonna come in and do the outlines of these stylized mango fruits. Okay, there's one over here, and then I have 1, 2, and then a leaf coming out of this one. Okay. Next is the Hawaiian host, and I'm gonna turn my sketchbook again a little bit so I'm not at the super awkward angle for my wrist. And over in the chat, Susan says, Sriracha is for those people that like spicy foods with heat and a kick. It can be added to many sauces. Ooh, yes. Yeah, Hawaii is a really, like, they love any kind of hot sauce here. There's a whole culture of Hawaiian style hot sauce and all different kinds of flavors, and then infused with fruits. You know, I have like guava hot sauce and pineapple hot sauce and all the hot sauce, passion fruit, everything. So there's a lot of hot sauce here. You go to a farmer's market and you have hot sauce, then fruits, and then more hot sauce. Yeah, I was trained as a kid to eat hot food. Spicy, I mean. Especially my dad loves, even though he's German, he loves spicy food. Oh my gosh, the stuff he can eat makes me, like, they water my eyes even before I touch the food, I swear. It's so incredible. I don't like it that hot and spicy. Honestly, I like a little kick and then I'm fine. But I still want to taste my food. So I'd say in general, when you eat here in Hawaii, it's not super spicy. So they usually let you use the hot sauce on the side. You know, they serve your dish and then you can use the hot sauce. And oftentimes they have several on the table. Okay, Hawaiian host. So the H and the O are connected, just like here where the H and the A are connected. So it's the line that goes through to the O and then a little swoosh here and the long T stroke. Okay, over in the chat, Carrie says, I like sriracha, my husband does not. I think that happens a lot, doesn't it? Get the within the family, some people can and some people can't. Okay, and again, I'm not gonna worry about what's written there. I'm gonna do squiggly lines. That's it. And then the strawberries and cream tag. White chocolate. And Laura says, thanks, I live in Argentina and I didn't know what it was. Oh, is it Laura then, not Laura? Oh, I'm sure in Argentina you have all the sauces and all the spices. So, sriracha. Is sriracha, where is that from? Is it more like an American Mexican invention, or? I wonder. I don't even know. Is Michelle in the chat? She would know. My friend Michelle. Yeah, I have to say, before I moved here, so over in Europe, I didn't know that either. So it's new to me as well. So I have no idea about the origin. And mom says, Keiko-chan, Japanese brush pen is really super. I love it for my signature by calligraphy. Yes. Yeah, this is a really wonderful one. It's the Pentel. What I like about it is that you can pull it apart and you can refill it. So it's not just a one-time deal. It's kind of like, it's almost like a fountain pen. You can reload it. All right, so let's go over to the King's Hawaiian sweet rolls. Carrie says she just looked it up and sriracha is from Thailand. That makes sense. They love spicy food over there. Been there a few times and oh boy, do they not kid about spicy food. Yeah, part of my family loves going to Thailand. My dad, my sister, they love it there. I love it too. It's not that I don't like it, but it's funny because my dad is German and he goes there and he asks for extra spicy food and they look at him and they don't think he can survive. So they make it mild and then he's so disappointed and he asks to, you know, for it to be more spicy, and they give him the spicy food, he eats it, they think they probably have to put him in the hospital and he's just a happy camper. It's so funny. Yeah. Okay, King's Hawaiian. So you realize I'm holding my brush pen upright now because I want to work with a very variated line to indicate that we have crinkly, folds, plastic packaging here, plastic bag. And then for the design, I'm gonna just switch to holding it regular again. And hold on. Oh, this goes up straight. Okay, I made a mistake here with the design. This actually goes up straight. Ah, okay. So this is almost like a tab. And then the crown sits in there. Okay. Another commercial. Okay. Okay, over in the chat, Sharon says, I bought a Pentel brush last week. It came with cartridges. Did you put a converter in yours to use the carbon ink? So yes, but you can actually also reload cartridges, Sharon. You just need a blunt needle, and you know they're really cheap on Amazon or other online stores to buy, and then you can take out your cartridge and it has a hole on it in it already, and then you can just fill the cartridge with ink. It won't work forever. You know, the cartridges probably wear out at some point. But yeah, you can also use a converter. I'm not sure which one to use with the pen. I mean, I'm not sure which brand it was. It wasn't Pentel. I know that. I had a converter that fit. You know what? I can look that up too and put it in the description later on so you can check it out. Okay, so back to our design. I'm just gonna trace the King's Hawaiian. Established 1950. Hawaiian. Hi, Cam. What are you doing? Oh, okay. Oh, you're talking. What are you saying? You want a snack? A bit of attention? Oh, that too. I see. What else? Uh-huh. Oh, outside. Well, I gotta wait a little. I did decide to do a few of those little cute designs here. The plumeria. Oh, great. Now I woke up the beasts. They were snoozing, and because I talked to one of them, they're awake now. Well, serves me right. Should have just let them sleep. That's so funny. Okay. Yep, I think that's it for the sweetbread. And then we have our lollipop. And again, because this is wrapped in plastic, I'm gonna try and make my line very inconsistent, thicker and thinner to indicate that that's crinkly plastic wrap. Okay, here we go. And over in the chat, Laura says, yes, chimichurri. That's a spice mix? I think I had that before. Yeah, chimichurri sounds very familiar. Also, for some reason, reminds me of churros, but churros are, yeah, that's different. Those are the snacks, the fried snacks. Oh, they're so good. But what exactly is in chimichurri? Is that spicy, and then what else is in that mix? Such a cute word too. Chimichurri. Sweet, sweet. Okay, I think I need to use my hair dryer just to make sure it's dry. I didn't think I would have to do that today, but yes, I do. Let's plug it in this way. I'm gonna try something new today and try to put myself on mute. I don't think I've ever managed that, but let's try. Did it work with the mute button? Hope it did, and I hope you can hear me again now. I guess I'm always a bit worried that once I put myself on mute, then that's it. Okay, over in the chat, Laura says, in answer to my question about what the chimichurri is, I don't know exactly, but it's something that is used with the asado beef. Yes. And Suze says that mute worked. Excellent. Yay, I learned something new. Learned how to mute myself. Alrighty, let's mix up some gouache, and because I don't have orange, I need to create orange. This is still wet. Let's just move this to the side. Okay, I have some lemon yellow, classic yellow for mixing. It's a cool yellow. Usually mixes to a more bright color, and then this is what Schmincke calls geranium red. Geranium, that's a flower, isn't it? So which one is that? PR4 and PR112. So that's kind of like alizarin, crimson, and something else. For mixing, I usually like to use a more sturdy brush and not my small round brush. Okay, I think I will only need a tiny amount of red. This seems to be a very strong red, so it's going to turn the yellow orange immediately. So for all of you who are not very familiar with gouache, you could say that it's basically an opaque version of watercolor. It honestly uses the same ingredients. Every gouache and watercolor in the solid form, solid meaning not liquid watercolor like the Ecoline, is based on pigments plus a binder. And both gouache and watercolor usually use a gum arabic based binder and pigments. I do know, however, that some companies don't use gum arabic in their gouache, but they use, for example, dextrose, which I think is cheaper. Has similar properties. The gouache will be a bit more sticky. It's in general not as nice to work with. But yeah, so the properties of gouache are just that usually it's used in a way that is opaque, and then watercolors normally are going to be used in a transparent way. However, you can dilute gouache that it's very thin and more translucent, and you can thicken up watercolor by, for example, adding gouache to it or just using it in a very thick manner with very little water and a lot of pigment or paint. But to make life easier, it's good to buy gouache if you plan on painting something in an opaque way and not use the transparency of watercolors. I do have to say that also a lot of gouache companies, especially the cheap ones, will put fillers into their gouache to make them more opaque. So if you buy a cheap set of gouache, and there's nothing wrong about it, I'm just saying, you might have a lot of titanium white in it. That's PW6, and if you see that in your, how close can I get? If you see that on your tube, when it says here, for example, PR9, that's a pigment red, PO36, pigment orange 36, and then PW6. The PW6 is the titanium white. So this gouache has probably a lot of titanium white, and that doesn't really do much. It's really a filler. It's a white pigment that fills the tube, so to speak. Okay, so I mixed my gouache, and I'm gonna use the orange for my mangoes, and then I'm gonna do the rest of the package in pink, even though it's not, it's not like the original, but because I'm using only 2 colors, I will have to change up the design a little bit. Okay, so how do you guys like gouache? Have you worked with it? Do you use it a lot or just occasionally? And most importantly, is that maybe something you would like to use more in my live streams, or not so much? How do you feel about that? I used to paint a lot with gouache, like really a lot. I think for a year I used so much gouache, and then it kind of petered out again, and I went back. Well, I never left watercolors, but I think I really focused my private and my business art practice on watercolor and color pencil mostly. But the nice thing about gouache is because it is opaque, you can layer it and you don't have to think about leaving white space so much. You can just let the layer dry and then paint over it, kind of like with acrylics. Carrie says, I have tried gouache, but I like the look of watercolor better. So Carrie likes the transparency, the transparent properties of watercolor better. Kerstin says, I'm a beginner with gouache, still learning. Oh my goodness, I'm still learning with everything. Of course. It's just with art, you never get there. Yeah, that's the news, you guys. You will never get there. You will always be a work in progress when it comes to art. That's the beauty of it too. But I think at some point you will know what you really like. You will know what you enjoy. And I think that's also the beauty of your art practice, is that you have your favorite mediums and your favorite things to draw or paint. And Laura says, I use it sometimes, but I like it. Yeah, same. And Nina says, I'm going back and forth between everything. Oh yeah. Okay, that would be me too. So for my private art practice, I love to try out everything. But of course, for the business side, for Aloha watercolors, I kind of have to stay mostly with watercolors. Only breaking out occasionally. Yeah, I think that's pretty good, pretty dry. Let me show you another type of acrylic gouache, which is the acrylic gouache, the one I just read you the pigment codes off of. So as I mentioned earlier, the big difference is with acrylic gouache, it really is more like acrylic paint in the sense that it doesn't use a watercolor binder, but it uses a polymer acrylic binder, which is basically, you could just say it's plastic. And the opaque properties of this gouache are just amazing. See how it completely covers quickly, and I could even draw over, I'm just gonna demonstrate, I could draw over my black line and just make it disappear if I wanted to. So it's super opaque. You can create really nice and flat designs with, and I mean it in a positive way. I mean not, you know, flat not in a bad way, but flat in a good way. And this is why designers, when they still, or before the age of everything computer, they used gouache as the medium to create illustrations because it was great for scanning. It dries flat, it dries matte, you have no reflections. It's great for photographing, it's great for scanning. So it was usually the medium of choice for illustrators and especially designers. Let me see. So I gotta just think about, so there are these leaves. I'm gonna use the other pink for that, the slightly more neon bright pink. Okay, and I'm gonna do the background with my acrylic gouache with the shell pink. If you're using acrylic gouache and you're new to it, please make sure you rinse out your brush right away, right after you use it, because it is a plastic binder. It will dry on your brush and then you pretty much have to throw it away. You can use your watercolor brushes with acrylic gouache as well. That's not the issue, but just make sure you rinse it really well. You don't need to use soap or anything, just water, but rinse it right away. I do love the look of gouache though, especially when you combine it with other mediums. It's so nice. It is so flat, it is so matte, and it kind of brings out the texture of other mediums even better because it is such a nice contrast between flat and smooth and more textured. So for example, if I lay down the crayon now, just, you know, as an example, it would look even more textured just because the rest of the package is so smooth and flat. So this could be a style decision or a style thing here. Okay, but I did want to use the bright pink for the leaves, so I'm gonna do that. And I was gonna use it down here too, but I already used my crayon, so let's see. So what I did is I picked up some water, and because this is the water-soluble crayon, I can smooth it out. And then once this is dry, I can go over with my brush pen and make it a bit more pink. Because, you know, I don't want to have this be pink here and then that's it. It's just too much. It's too bold, so I want to repeat it down here and then all over all of my designs. So this is not the only spot where I have this really bright pink. Okay, how's everybody doing? For those of you who are painting and drawing along, I hope it's going good. Let me know if you have any questions. And over in the chat, Sue says, I used gouache years ago. and thought the tubes might have all dried up. About a third are fine. Yeah, that happens unfortunately with gouache. I mean, you can still cut the tubes open and then scrape out the gouache and then re-wet it with water. You know, like use a little pan, like a watercolor pan or a little container, and then like not crack the paint, just pulverize the paint with a spoon, for example, and mix in some water. So you can revive it. If you really, if you have some maybe very expensive gouache and you don't want to buy a new one, then yeah, it's possible. You can do that if you want to, or you can just buy some more. All right, up next, let's do the Hawaiian host. Again, let me think about the colors. We do have a lot of pink. Yeah, again, even though this color is close to this one, I don't want to use it because as soon as I make this package be bold pink like that, it's going to take over my whole double page spread. I don't want too much attention on this one. So I'm going to choose the lighter pink. My acrylic marker, the one that I used for the soda can and for the sardines. Oh, it's so dry. The poor marker. Not sure I can save this one. Let's try the other one. I have another one. I think that was a bit more juicy. Yeah, that is. Okay. I'm making sure I'm not drawing over my strawberry white tab here because I'm going to leave that white. And I can see that my black ink, even though I use the hairdryer, still smears a little bit. So I have heard people who are really into fountain pens and inks tell me that I should, better wait a few hours for the ink to dry, especially if the paper is smooth like this one. But I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to be careful and not draw over the black. Just going to leave a little bit of a white space in between my marker and my black brush pen. Okay, over in the chat, Laura has a question, and she wants to know if the Gansai Tambi Kuretake is like gouache. So, for all of you who are not familiar, the Kuretake Gansai Tambi is a Japanese watercolor. However, the binder is based not on gum arabic, like most watercolors, but it's based on animal hide. So it's also, I think they also use gum arabic, the acacia tree sap, but they also use a little bit of animal hide, which makes the paint very opaque and also very sticky in a good way. And they use a lot of pigment too. So quality-wise, those are really good watercolors. And because they have a very high content of pigment, they just appear more opaque than other watercolor brands that have just a little bit of pigment and mostly binder. I hope that makes sense. So think of it that the most expensive part about making paint is the color pigment, the pigment powder. That is what you pay money for. So imagine that if you buy a cheaper brand, you have a bit less pigment in your paint and more binder. Binder is, the liquid stuff, the glue that the pigment gets mixed with. And then, the Gansai Tambi, for example, they use a huge amount of pigment, just like Aloha watercolors, and less binder, so you get like a lot of pigment with these paints. And you can use them like gouache in the sense that when you use the Gansai Tambi with just a very little water, then they really behave like gouache. They are very opaque. So yeah, I guess in a sense you can say they're like gouache in a pan. But typically gouache comes in tubes. There are a few companies like Karin that have gouache, and they call it gouache in pans, like dried up. But I honestly think that using gouache from the tube is a bit more convenient because, you know, you want this kind of like pasty consistency with gouache, and if you have to get it out of the tube, you have to do a lot of mixing and rubbing, and so yeah, having the tube is really convenient, I think. A little caveat here, because I said that the Gansai Tambi use animal glue or hide. It is how they started and what they did for the longest time. However, I'm not 100% sure they still do it. So if you're vegan or vegetarian and this freaks you out, it might actually be that they changed their recipe and they're not using animal hide anymore. So just this little, I'm really interested if that's true now or not. I'm gonna do a little research. I'm just saying the original recipe, it was like gouache also because they did use the animal glue and hide, which makes paints more sticky in general. And it's just something that, you know, in Japan, it was very common, normal, not frowned upon to use animal parts in paint making. But, you know, every Japanese brand is, of course, very aware that a lot of people don't want that stuff in their art supplies. So they might have changed it. Okay, and over in the chat, Sue says, my gouache is Maimeri. Yeah. Don't know if that still exists and don't know how good a brand it is. Had it for over 30 years. It's excellent. They're from Italy. Look at this. I have them too. It's a fantastic brand. It's not easy to get over here in the United States though. It's much easier to buy over in Europe or, you know, in New Zealand maybe. Yeah, fantastic and highly recommended. But again, in America, it's not as easy to obtain. It's pretty expensive here too. So, and it is more sticky, I have to say, than other gouache brands. All right, let's move over to our King Sweetbread, which is very orange. Let's see, what do I want to use? I think I'm gonna go with my Crayola for the lettering, just it makes it, you know, because it makes it a bit more easy to fill out the small letters rather than trying this with a crayon or even with a brush. And look how close this color is to the original. That's super close. It's almost like the color. Hi, Jamesy. I can hear you rummaging around there. He says, hi, world. Okay, mom is paying me some compliments again. Thank you, Mom. She's so sweet. Oh, I'm so happy that you understand my English. So my mom is fluent in German and Japanese, and she's really good in English too. But, you know, when people talk too fast, then it's a bit difficult for her. She always says that she can understand my English really well. That makes me happy. And then Agnieszka says, Jackson's maybe. Oh, you mean for the Maimeri? Yeah. Actually, Blick carries that brand of gouache. Oh, they do. Oh, there you go. But it's probably like double expensive compared to what you pay over in Europe. I mean, not, I don't want to discourage you guys from buying it, but yeah. I really don't think it's so much about the brand, you know. It's, there are a lot of good gouache out there. And honestly, even if you buy a cheap brand of gouache like Arteza, all you need is basically to buy a good big tube of white gouache, maybe that, you know, good quality, and then when you mix that with the cheaper brand, you can achieve nice opacities. Of course, your color will get a bit lighter by mixing in some white, you know, but it's gonna be a very nice gouache that you can mix yourself. If you're in the States, you can, for example, try a brand called Graham. I'm gonna write it down. They're fantastic. Gouache. I think they're made in Seattle, I believe. And then Winsor & Newton is fine. They're not my favorite. The yellows aren't great. They're very transparent. But the other, you know, the other colors of Winsor & Newton are really good, especially the dark ones. And the Holbein, the Japanese gouache, not just the acrylic gouache, but the regular gouache is fantastic too. So those are my favorites. But again, that's not, I don't want to promote too much one brand. And if you're over in Europe, and especially in Germany, Schmincke is fabulous. Okay, let's move on to this part here. So the outer part of this bag is also bright orange. Oh my gosh, this is so satisfying, you guys. Just filling out filling out the coloring book with Crayolas. This is so nice. So fun. Okay, and then we have some darker parts here. They're red in the original packaging. Where is my, here, my bright pink one. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but this is the another Japanese brand, Sakura Koi. And I put my swatch right over the name, so it's Koi coloring brush pen. Koi is the Japanese word for the carp fish. Very important symbol in Japan for longevity and for luck. I think generally in Asia, isn't it? Not just in Japan. Opa. Okay. So what I still need to do is to go back into my sardines and add the black outline and do my little chupa chups lollipop. And then go over this part here with my brush pen. Let's see. Yeah, still a bit moist, but that's good. Ooh, look at that nice color. So I changed the color a little bit because I'm going over the orange part. But oh, that's so pretty. Not exactly what I intended because I wanted it to be the same color, and now I have another new color pop up there, but it's okay. So for the Chupa Chups, I'm gonna use this shell pink again, just so that this is not the one and only design using this color. And I'm gonna paint the pink parts of my lollipop. here, and then the little wrap down here, and the rest will be orange. Ooh, I have to put my cup of tea away. It's standing right next to my paint water. It's not a good idea. All right, and over in the chat, Sharon says, question if you don't mind. I don't mind, ask away. I opened a watercolor tube Daniel Smith the other day and the binder has separated from the pigment. I tried stirring it with a skewer a bit. Is there another trick to fix it? Yeah, that happens a lot. You know, because the pigment is basically a rock that's powderized and the pigment, the binder is liquid. They like to separate. So you can do several things. You can either, you know, squeeze out what you did from the tube onto your palette and then just stir it with a brush or a skewer. You can also close the tube again and then massage it. You know, try to do that. However, it is just something that it just happens and I don't really have another solution. If your tube is already half empty, then you can try and go in with a skewer and like kind of stir it in the tube. But if your tube is full, then it's not going to work. You know, you're going to spill the contents. So yeah, just 3 ways. You just squeeze out the pigment and the binder and just mix it up in your palette. Or if it's half empty, you can try mix it in the tube. Or if your tube is still relatively full, you can just massage your tube. However, if you massage it, the next time you open the tube, you're gonna have some paint exploding out of it. Just be aware of that. You know, just don't open it on a sensitive surface. Mom says she's so happy too. She's such a darling. Oh, Mom. And Nina says she's got the Himi Mia, but I find the yellow are a bit transparent as well. Are these the jelly? I've never tried those. The ones that come in like tubs and you remove the foil. Yeah, I've seen them a lot on social media, but I've never tried those. Yellow is always a problem with opaque paints because yellow is just such a light color and it's not easy to make it very opaque unless you mix white pigment in it. So it's a very known problem. So don't be surprised if you buy gouache brand and then your yellow is just not that great. And again, if you want to make it a bit more opaque, you can just mix it with a little bit of white gouache. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. And again, it will change the color of your paint. It will make it a little lighter, but sometimes that's okay. If you're going for opacity, then having a slightly lighter yellow will work better for you than trying to build layer upon layer. Jamesy,
Yeah.
do you need to go to the farm?
No, I just need my phone.
You can't find your phone? I just saw that this morning.
Are you still live?
I'm still live, yeah.
Hi, Mom.
I was just trying if I could still call you, but then I think I'll...
Here we go. Got it.
Oh, you found it?
I gave it to you. Remember last night? Yeah, got it.
You gave me your phone? You did? I don't remember what happened last night. Oh, that's right. Now I remember. Yesterday evening was a blur after those 2 workshops that weekend. Don't remember much. Okay, I think we're done with this part. You know what? I kind of want to repeat the very bright, almost neon pink on this side because I have 0 of that. Do a swatch. How about I do the lettering here in this bright pink? Always trying to repeat my colors all across the design to create a nice balance. And now I'm adding the outlines to my can of sardines. James, have you ever heard somebody say sardines, not sardines?
No.
Okay, I guess I just made that totally up in my head. I think in the last live stream we realized how many of us are not speaking their mother tongue on a daily basis because we live in another place, so to speak. So interesting to live in a place where you don't speak your first language and you kind of always have to like think about what you're saying and how you say it, and it would be so easy to say in your first language. Okay, I'm gonna squeeze the sardines in here. Over in the chat, Carrie says, oh, she's already done. Good job, Carrie. Yay. Yeah, I mean, you know, no talking. Yeah. No talking, just painting. Good job. Okay, I'm gonna have a look at that later, but I also have to still pack a couple of orders. Watercolor order and a coffee order. And then I'm actually going on a tiny little mini vacation. I already packed my art supplies, but I didn't pack any clothes. It's very typical for me. Packing the important things first, right? All right. Okay, let's look at everything. Yeah, that lettering is too light. It really just disappears into the background. So let's make that a bit brighter. Hey, Mom says hi to you, James.
Hi, Mom. I said hi.
I know, but I'm not sure she heard that because you were somewhere.
Hi, Mama San.
Hey, Mama San. You know, that's funny when you say that. You know why, right? Yeah.
Because it's not right.
No, not that. I'm not gonna say this on YouTube because they're gonna censor my video, but yeah. My mom will know why it's funny. Aloha 25 September, week 4. You guys want to know about the next color for next month? I mean, we don't have that many colors left, honestly, because it's going to be month 10 in October, and we already went through 9 different colors or color combos. So what do you guys think? What do you think it's going to be in October?
Orange.
You know what the color for this month is, James?
Orange.
We have a different color every month.
Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Oh my gosh.
Boo.
No, it's funny. I mean, I know you. I've been with you for 10 years. I know these kind of jokes. It's not going to be orange. It's not going to be banana. It's going to be different. Okay, I first want to see if anybody guesses it. Well, you're making folks crack up. Oh.
BC is voting for black.
No, we had black in February, black and white.
February.
Yeah, he was like first up in the year.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Oh, for those of you who don't know, BC is our black cat. He voted black. Sue says yellow. We already had. I think that was April or so. Okay, I'll give you a little hint. It's so think of October and Halloween, and I know one of the prominent colors is orange, but what's the other color that you can find a lot in October around Halloween season?
Glow in the dark.
Oh, no, it's not glow in the dark. It's not a color. That's like a property. No, we had
ghostly
black
white.
and purple. Sue's wins. Ding, 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 ding. Woo!
Hey, knock that off.
Okay. Don't clap and shout with chihuahuas. Hi, buddy. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're gonna be a purple dog, huh? We're gonna dye your hair purple? No, I wouldn't do that.
I would.
You would? What? You would? The poor dog.
One purple and one orange.
I think it's possible though. I mean, I've seen photos of purple dogs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think there is like a non-toxic hair dye or something. No. Oh, you want to be purple too, Karen? Oh, maybe. Just kidding. I'm not gonna do it. Okay. Yeah. So October will be purple, and I don't want to make it all around Halloween because first of all, not everybody has that in their country, and we're a very international crowd. I know it's not a very typical autumn color or fall color, but I think it's going to be interesting because you can suggest any prompts that you like. You can, just tell me in the chat now if you have an idea with the color purple, or if you think of something later, you can tell me in the comments down below. I'm always super grateful, by the way, if you leave a comment in my or after my YouTube live streams or for my videos. It just helps the video to get promoted more and more people to see it and find my channel. But you can also always text me over on Instagram if you have ideas for prompts. I haven't made up the prompts list yet. I do have ideas, but it's nothing, nothing set in stone yet. I'm gonna do this next week. So I'm very happy to hear ideas and suggestions from you. Agnieszka says, technically in October, the sunsets become more vibrant, more purple tones. Yes, like here in Hawaii, it's incredible. It is so gorgeous. That would be a good idea. Purple sunset. Sue says, finished mine. I like my soda can the best. Feel like I really achieved something. Ooh, I'm happy to hear it. That's good, Suze. Sunset would be great. Yeah, I agree. Oh, Mom, did you draw as? Oh, did you paint along too? I think usually she just watches the live streams. Ooh, that would be a new thing. My mom drawing and painting along. I'd love to see that. Oh yeah. Look there, further up. She says, "Wow, finally fish is finished with black color line thing." Ah, hast du mitgemalt, Mama? Heute? Das ist ja toll. Ach, das ist ja super. Das freut mich. Das freut mich. Okay, you guys, this was a really fun session. I know I rambled a lot about the supplies and all that stuff, and I hope you don't mind. I just love mixed media and I love art supplies, and I really like sharing about all that too. As a paint maker, I'm always a bit of a nerd when it comes to colors and pigments, of course, and how things are being made, what they consist out of. That really interests me. You can always also like stop me if I'm rambling on too much about something. I don't take that personally at all. I'm very good with any type of critique and feedback. So if you have that, feel free. And as I said, my DMs are always open over on Instagram. If you have suggestions, ideas, or even, suggestions for new videos, something you would like me to dive deeper into. Alrighty, so Thank you so much, you guys, for joining. I'll see you next month in Purple Month. And as I said, I'm very happy to hear your suggestions and ideas for that month. Until then, please keep well and happy creating. Aloha. Bye.